First, I would like to express really my appreciation to the Kenyan authorities for inviting the European Union to observe these important elections and expressing my gratitude to all our Kenyan interlocutors who gave my team and myself a warm welcome, and it was really very much appreciated. This mission was deployed on 26 June with the arrival of 12 core teams, and the European Union election observation mission also consists of 48 so-called long-term observers. In addition, in the final phase of the process, in particular the election day observation, our mission was reinforced by 48 short-term observers, almost the same number of members of diplomatic missions, as well as my colleagues from the European Parliament. Altogether, our team is composed of over 180 observers and consists of citizens from all 27 EU member states, together with observers from Canada, Norway, and Switzerland. I would like to thank to the delegation of European Union in Kenya, Madam Ambassador especially, European Union member states as well as Canada, Norway, and Switzerland, but also EU institutions as well as international organizations participating on or contributing in any way to our mission for their support and very good collaboration. I would like to express my appreciation to my colleagues from the European Parliament, in particular my friend and colleague, Ms. Evin Inchir, Head of Delegation, for an excellent cooperation. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on Tuesday, Kenyans went to the polls. This was the most visible part of the election process. I want to express my gratitude to all the Kenyans who participated in the electoral process, first and foremost to the voters themselves, who exercised their right to vote and thus contributed to the democratic practice, but also to all the poll workers and election administration at all levels. I greatly appreciate the dedication of the poll workers and the strong commitment of voters that we witnessed on Tuesday. Really, we, all of us, observers, very much appreciated that, and I'm personally very impressed with this commitment to democracy. Today, the election process is still far from finished, as we know, as the tabulation process is ongoing. As we speak, our observers continue to follow its conduct across the country. The European Union Election Observation Mission is now only in position to comment on observation undertaken to date, and we do not comment on the ongoing tallying in a substantial way. The following remarks are therefore our preliminary conclusions of the process observed so far. Kenyan voters went to the polls on 9th August 2022 and cast their votes patiently in 6 levels of general elections. These elections offered voters a real choice of candidates, and fundamental rights were generally respected throughout the course of the campaign. However, last-minute changes to the election process showed that procedural elements need to be improved. The lead-up to the elections was characterized by significantly less tension and conflict than in the past. Parties and candidates were able to campaign openly throughout the country and to get their messages out to voters. While the presidential campaign had the highest profile, of course, the gubernatorial races were also important, which emphasized the growing significance of the constitutional devolution of power. The mission noted a new political discourse focusing on social economical issues in the campaign, but underlying divisions were still apparent. There was also a marked dissatisfaction among young voters. One of the most prominent issues in these elections were the lack of proper campaign finance framework. This made a negative impact on the campaign environment and created an unlevel playing field that was disadvantaging those with less access to funds, especially women. Furthermore, the distribution of cash by candidates to voters during the campaign is a practice that is at odds with democratic principles. The initial stages of the elections were managed effectively and professionally by the IEBC. And we also welcome the level of transparency that the IEBC has provided to the public, who can access the results forms on the IEBC web portal. As polling day approached, significant uncertainties persisted, which had an impact on the election day procedures. These uncertainties were a result of the IEBC wanting to be responsive to past criticism. However, many of the decisions could have been considered sooner, but were instead dealt with as they emerged. The IEBC needed to wait for legal processes to finalize certain key decisions, as we know, for instance, the ballot printing. The IEBC could have done more to communicate more clearly with stakeholders throughout the process to enhance public trust. However, this has improved in last weeks. The use of technology in this election was a key point of discussion throughout the electoral process, from its procurement to the implementation. While the IEBC stressed that the paper-based process is the basis of the system and that the result of the tallying process could be reconstructed in case of system failure, this could have been better communicated. The legal framework provides a good basis for the conduct of democratic elections, and there is a high public trust in the judiciary. This is very positive. Candidate registration resulted in over 16,000 contestants for all 6 elections, giving voters a real choice. However, women made up only 12% of the candidates, which is lower than expected given the constitutional provisions efforts from many stakeholders to increase their participation. A small number of decisions related to candidate registration was challenged, and these were handled expeditiously. The media were covering the elections extensively in broadcast and print. Despite this free atmosphere, media professionals expressed concerns about danger and threats to their profession in covering sensitive issues, especially around politics and corruption. The candidate debates, which were extensively covered by all media, were a missed opportunity at the presidential level when 2 of the 4 candidates dropped out. The state-owned broadcaster provided the electorate with broad information. Radio stations broadcasting in local languages were segmented and showed bias, while newspapers offered a more balanced reporting. Social media were used extensively throughout the campaign. This information was spread via online platforms with elements of coordinated, inauthentic behavior found by the EU Election Observation Media Social Media Monitoring Unit. By the way, it was first time in Kenya we established this monitoring and this position. On election day, voters exercised their right to vote in a general peaceful manner throughout the day. The process was calm, albeit prolonged, due to complex procedures. Opening, voting, and counting took place generally in line with established procedures. Polling stations visited by our missions observers opened late in some cases, mainly due to logistical delays and equipment issues. Regarding voting, our observers assessed it positively in most cases. The biometric voter identification at times didn't function properly, creating queues. During closing, some polling stations didn't follow all established integrity measures. No official complaints, however, were lodged at polling stations visited at closing. Tabulation is still ongoing, as we know, and as we speak, we are observing it. However, our observers have been kept at some distance from the process, which is reducing transparency. Dear ladies and gentlemen, the process has been peaceful so far, and we do hope that it will continue in a credible and transparent way that will bring confidence. Our mission remains deployed to follow the electoral processes through to the conclusion. After completion of the process, our mission will deliver a final report that will include recommendations addressing issues identified in this electoral process.